So in today's video I'm going to be talking about or reading out one of my reviews that's been sent in from one of my customers who has just passed her test, and that's Maia. You may have seen her on if you follow me on Facebook or on Twitter or anything like that, you will have seen Maia's review picture with a pass certificate. So Maia passed with me last week. I met Maia in 2017, probably around sort of midway through the year, I think, off the top of my head. And she'd been with a previous instructor. She'd had a gap from learning, about a 3-year gap. Maia was a very competent driver when I met her, but did struggle with nerves and stuff like that a little bit. So when things went wrong, it tended to escalate and get worse, and obviously nerves for the test and that sort of side of it. So what today's video is going to be all about is Maia sharing her experiences and trying to give some insight as to her thoughts and feelings going through this process, and some advice. It's basically going to be a video review read out by myself on behalf of Maia. Alright, so the aim of the video is to help people who, or just to share the experience, because every experience is good if you're going through the same thing, or to give you some hints and tips as to how Maia managed to pull it off and basically go on pass first time with just 2 faults with myself. So it was a very good drive at that, and there was no nerves or anything, or so it seemed. So let's get into it, shall we? Maia said, after failing my test 3 times in 2014, the last fail just before I was due to start university for the first time, decided to take a break from lessons as I just couldn't see that I was making improvements. So she'd had enough, basically. My previous driving tests, I think she'd done 2 at that point. My previous driving tests were highly stressful for me, and I felt that as though my skills would go right out of the window as soon as I got in the car. I was so nervous, my vision and awareness would be off, and I missed potential dangers and made mistakes that caused me to fail. So that's how she sort of felt about her first test going in. So never a good thing to really feel like you're that nervous that it's affecting everything else, so you're to the point where you nearly can't drive. So she says, after a 3-year break, I decided to start up driving lessons again. I found Go-To Driving School online and was so impressed by the professional look and reviews, I gave them a call and quickly we arranged a lesson. After my first lesson with Matt at Go-To, I realised that I needed to improve a lot more before I could get anywhere near passing a test. I realised that my previous lessons had not taught me many basic things about driving that I should have known. This is something I come across all the time. I've just met a new customer just before recording this video, and same again, lots of very good, but lots of gaps in the knowledge and things that should have been put in there. She goes on to say, during my time with Matt, he always made me feel confident and at ease behind the wheel. I was so desperate to get driving and to pass my test. It meant so much to me. Being taught by a professional was much better for what I needed. Now she writes a little bit about how she managed to do it. So how she managed to come through, pull through, and go off and pass the test. She says, in the lead up to my test, I found that I was doing lots of private practice in my mum's car. This was around the test routes. She was doing manoeuvres and general driving, and it really helped with the confidence. She said, I would recommend that anyone to have private practice if they have the facility. So Maia had insurance with, I think she took some out with Marmalade actually. I think I made a video on Marmalade. So anybody looking for learner driver insurance, while you're on the channel, if you look for that, then you'll be able, the link will send you right to Marmalade. You can get yourself a quote, you can get insured for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, etc. She said, I watched lots of Go-To Driving School YouTube videos. They helped with my understanding of things covered in the lessons. They inspired me to be positive, watching the videos of students who had passed mocks and tests, and the videos around the test centre were helpful to memorise. So what she's talking about there is my test tips advice section, and again that's in the If you go onto the homepage of the YouTube channel, go to Driving School YouTube channel, you will see the probably about halfway down, if you scroll down, lots of clips on the Derby test routes. She said, in the week before my test, I also met with a hypnotherapist. Whilst she didn't fully hypnotise me, it was something I would definitely recommend if you are someone that gets nervous, as it gave me better techniques and ways of thinking and visualising my test. Now, this is interesting because ultimately it's our thoughts that create our feelings. So if you can think about things in a different way, which is basically, I think, what Maia's saying here, because the hypnotherapist helped her to think in a different way, then you're not as likely to suffer as much, you know, because you're not perceiving that test, that dreaded four-letter word, and that's all it is at the end of the day, as such a thing, you know. She said, the night before I also tried to relax. She said she watched funny things on TV in order to boost her mood. The more positive I felt, she said, the less nerves would control me. Big one there. Don't let the nerves control you, guys. Take some good advice here from Maia. Really appreciate, in case Maia watches the video back, Maia, I really appreciate you taking the time to write out this. I'm sure it's going to benefit others in the same sort of position. She said, finally, the best bit of advice I could give would be to talk to yourself. By telling myself I was confident that I could do it, so it's mind over matter here, that it was just a test, and it is, it's just a test, because what's the worst thing you can do? And the worst thing you could do is fail. What do you do then? You pick yourself right back up, you learn from your mistakes, you become stronger, and you do it again, and you smash it, don't you? The worst thing that could be is a fail, and even that would not matter. On the day, I told myself this so much, and I acted as if I wasn't nervous at all. Now, that's the absolute truth. When I picked Maia up on the day, completely no signs of that, you know, that nervous Maia that potentially sometimes we had on the lessons. Not always, but just here and there. So that was really interesting, you know. She said, I was friendly and positive to the examiner, and I asked him all the questions I needed along the way, took deep breaths and smiled. Great advice there. Yeah, so she used the examiner to the full potential. I know she did, because I sat in the back. I was really proud. It was a really great drive, really smooth, nice drive. I mean, it had to be, didn't it, to have 2 driver faults there. First time pass and all that. Deep breaths, yeah. I mean, I think deep breaths sort of control, helps to keep things under control. Things to do with adrenaline and things like that. This meant my nerves didn't get the best of me at all, so mind control and positive thoughts made a huge difference for me. So finally passing was the best feeling in the world, coming from somebody who said multiple times that I'll never pass, and at some times even doubted myself. Even if you've lost all confidence, you suffer from anxiety, or you just get nervous, or you just get very nervous for tests, don't give up, you can do it. By Maia McLean. So thank you very, very much, Maia, for that review, and I hope that you guys who are watching the video here took some value from that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys soon for the next video.